It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. We know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 340. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. I think we've been back long enough now that we no longer have the fake British accents.
They are scrubbed from our system.
Yes.
We have been re-Americanized.
I used an elevator the other day and I called it an elevator.
Yeah.
I've started ordering French fries again.
Not chips.
Not chips.
Or wait, and then we've been eating potato chips, and they're not crisps.
They're not crisps.
Psps. Yeah.
So I think thank God I don't smoke.
Why?
Because that.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Leave it.
Can't say that one.
Okay.
So we've got it all out of our system.
But I will say that Kimberly, aka Holly Yoga, tagged me in a story on Instagram last week, and she said that's crazy in English, but then she said aka proper mental. Oh, keep them coming. I love it. She's gonna be so chuffed to hear that.
You need a whole cheat sheet.
I do.
Of things.
That's so fun.
It'd be nice if like autocorrect, if you could just
that would be amazing.
change your keyboard to like UK English.
Yes.
And then when you say that, it just flips it. Like instead of an emoji, it just flips it to the British slang.
Wow. That would be so cool. I love that.
You'd be chuffed.
I would be chuffed.
Yeah, you would.
Let me give it a sniff and see if I can find anything like that.
So,
love it.
where are we at? Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. Where are we?
We did our book club, and we have the next book.
Well, wait. So just to wrap up, it was the name of it was oh my God, it's already gone.
Drake.
Yeah, Evie Drake starts over.
Goes home.
Starts over.
Starts over home.
Yes, and then so our next book is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So that's our January book. You can start reading it anytime.
Why are you putting January in air quotes?
Well, just because
January not real?
It's just that it's December 13th.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it a January book.
Well, people need time to read.
I know. But like, so it's December/January would be the accurate. Anyway, we're going to have a meeting on January 9th. That'll be our next meeting, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And then we already picked the February book, and I am so freaking excited. It'll be our first Instructor book. We are going to be talking about Turning Inward by Ross Rayburn. And that one that meeting will be in February 13th. And that'll be at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern.
Valentine's Day Eve.
Yes. So,
what if I had something planned?
Will you even be here? Won't you be at like Polestar or something?
No, it's the week before.
Oh, okay. Usually you're gone over Valentine's Day. But I wanted to tell everybody that Ross Rayburn's book is available for pre-order right now. And I believe it comes out at the end of January, right? Or the end of December.
I think it was January 9th when I looked up.
And if you pre-order right now, he has like all these little extras you can get, including attending a webinar with him. So very cool. So I want to make sure that we let everybody know about that because we're big Ross supporters around here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we have our interview with Austin Allison.
Yeah. And
he is going to tell us about this very interesting concept called like home sharing or something. I don't. You just wait for the interview. But let me just say it's by a company called Picasso. No, not the artist. trust me, it's fascinating. Even if you have no interest in
do it, like it's
we're not going to be doing it, but it's interesting.
It's just interesting that this is what the real estate market is doing.
And he rides a Peloton, and all of these Picasso homes also have Pelotons.
Yes.
There's lots of tie-ins here.
For sure.
And then we also are going to be talking about all the things going on with Peloton this week. So there's changes that have come to the booking system. They have new features we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the technical issues with the tread. So if you've been experiencing issues, we got you. Also, we're going to talk about what the schedule is going to look like for the rest of December. And then we have some instructor news. We also have a visit from Dr. Jenn, how to give a true 100% for your workout. Talk Artist Series. We have past guest updates and a little very unexpected competitor news, and of course some content updates as well.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm forgetting. They're changing so quickly. YouTube, all the places you get a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. Greatly appreciated. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Where else? Oh, we're on Patreon. Patreon.com/theclipout, where for $5 a month you can get all sorts of bonus content. This week, what are we talking about?
This week, we are going to be talking about Stacy Sims, specifically cold plunge for women, because it is a different temperature and how you need to approach it if you are a woman versus a man. So super fascinating. Yeah. Also, we have a lot more instructor updates over there that didn't make the cut over here.
For sure. So you get all that for $5 a month, plus you get the episodes ad-free. If we get them early, you get them early, and all sorts of extra stuff that we haven't thought of yet. I don't know. And there is a free tier. All the book club stuff is part of the Patreon, which you can join for free and get the links and access to the book club stuff. So you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/theclipout, where you can watch these episodes. And then finally, don't forget our newsletter at theclipout.com. So that's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
So we have some changes coming to the studio class booking system.
Yes. So if you're unfamiliar, you have to go to a separate website to book a class if you want to take it in studio. So it's studio.onepeloton.com.
Okay.
And when you get there, the way that it's traditionally worked is that you go in and you buy credits. Then when you book a class, you apply the credits that are in your account. So you never had to go do that first, but if you didn't and you tried to check out,
you were never going to book anything.
You were never going to get that class.
It's kind of a vestige of a bygone era. Like it's the system in place before it was so hard to get classes, and they had never kind of acknowledged that system doesn't work in the new environment.
Yeah, my guess is they probably had a contract with whoever provided that service. But it's starting on, so Monday, December 11th, so this past Monday, through the 13th, the website was not working. And then... Well, because they were doing this new upgrade, and then on Thursday, there will be. It starts on Wednesday, so by the time you hear this, either way, all set up.
Right.
There will be a pay-as-you-go class purchase model. So what this means is you're only going to be able to still book one class at a time. So if you want to book more than one class, you're going to have to
go through the process again.
Do it again.
You can't throw 3 classes in your cart. They're not leggings, people.
Not today. I can't help but think, though, in the future, there will be additional changes. But
I don't know. I almost maybe think they want to log jam you a little bit, so you can't be like, I'll take this class, this class, this class.
So we'll see. We'll see which of us is right.
Well, it's typically you.
I know.
Okay.
The other thing that I want to make sure that you know is that you, any credits that you had sitting in your system already will migrate over. So you still have how much ever time you had left on those credits.
You didn't
still
lose
have
credits.
Yeah.
You're okay.
So any credits that you purchased before, you had 1 year to use from the date that you purchased them, which was really tough because if you couldn't get into a class, now you just hope for the best. And they did not like to will refund them.
Yeah.
So that was a big pain in the butt. So this is a huge upgrade to the class booking system. They've been doing a lot of things. Like I told you guys about how there were new colors. There's lines like you have to stand in. They do all that differently now. Like they keep making changes to that. So we will see what happens.
So let me ask you a question designed to inspire panic.
Okay, good.
Okay. Before you bought the credit,
Yeah.
and then you used the credit on whatever class you wanted. Now you throw the class in the cart and you pay at checkout. Mm-hmm. Do you think there comes a time when different classes cost different amounts? Like, oh, yoga is $20, but a bike class is $40. Oh, turkey burn, that's $75.
Lord help us all if it does. Oh my word. Yeah, that's
Like I said, I just like to get people upset for no reason.
Yeah.
Give you
Well,
something to worry about that hasn't happened yet.
It's a good way to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
All right.
So my gut tells me no, because the amount of revenue generated
It's so small.
is so infinitesimal in the grand scheme of things. It just feels like a dick move for for the purpose of making a dick move.
Yeah.
But I mean, never say never, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or-
I mean, I'll tell you this. If they were like, if they were to do concierge service, like true concierge service, where
Right.
it was like for a weekend, we'll book all these classes for you. You're going to get booked in this hotel. Like I would pay so much money for that.
Dear God, I hope they're not listening.
Much money. Like that is such an obvious money-making scheme. But I will also say, if the idea is to get as many people in, as many different people in, as many seats as possible,
Right.
none of that we just talked about would be helpful. Like all you're doing is stratifying it so people with
Right.
money can do it, and people that don't have money can't do it, and that's all you're going to do.
But I will say, as someone who prices tickets
I know.
for a living.
But I'm just saying that's not necessarily their goal.
Right.
Like
But-
you're trying to maximize revenue.
But what I was saying is if you carve out, for this concierge thing you're envisioning, you would probably only have to carve out 4 or 5 seats a class. Like you wouldn't need to take a whole, you know what I mean? Like
I do.
You
I
would
do.
take a sliver of that inventory.
But still,
or do you, all of a sudden bike 6 costs more than bike 17?
Oh, yeah. That to go back to the bike that you pick, but so the VIP package. So Peloton, we are building a concierge service for you. So included in the concierge service should be bikes 1 and 2.
Right.
And you get those. In fact, you should just be able to pick 2 because you're not going to want to go without your friend.
Sure.
So you should get 2 as part of this deal. And then you should get a very nice stay in a hotel that also has a Peloton, hint, hint. And then you should book it with some kind of massage afterwards, a really lovely healthy meal, which you guys have tons of there,
Right.
And then somebody to wait on you the entire time. This is amazing. I got this all set up.
A place with Coke Zero for the husbands.
Yeah. Oh, and if you could fix your hot chocolate, that would be great.
Well, I don't know how the hot chocolate is at the New York studio.
My guess is it's the same.
But in the London studio, it was hot garbage.
It was hot water.
It was brown water.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
Yeah.
So Peloton is adding a new class filter option. We talked about this a little bit last week, but it was still rolling out at the time we recorded. So now it has rolled out.
Yeah, I think it was also we only talked about it on the bonus episode. I'm not sure we talked about it on
I can't remember where we talk about anything anymore.
Well, I don't know either. But anyway, now it is cool down and warm-ups have been separated. Halla freaking Luya. Like that, it's so annoying when you want to find a cool down and all you can find is warm-ups and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just much faster to have them all in one place. So I'm really glad to see that.
Absolutely. We should talk a little bit about the Tread was having some technical difficulties this week.
Yeah, it was. Well, and it still is. I mean, who knows if it will be by the time you hear it. But I've been hearing this for over a week, so I'm assuming it's not going to be fixed by the time you hear this. And really, it doesn't seem to be the Tread Plus. And I only say that because I have not experienced this issue.
Right.
But when you go to put your Tread to sleep, it won't go to sleep.
Oh, it's like a 5-year-old.
And then even worse, it throws a tantrum.
You got to read a story.
And it starts blinking angry red at you.
Ooh.
I know. And if you supposedly, according to Peloton chats that people have had, if you hold down the stop button, it will eventually go to sleep. Other people say screw it and they just turn it off by the base. And so I don't know which would technically be better. Peloton is aware. They are working on a fix, but who knows when that'll occur. While we're on the subject of issues, I should probably let everybody know I've been seeing for weeks now, and I keep thinking it's fixed because I'm not having the problem. So I don't know if this is an iPhone specific, like different models specific program problem, but on my particular iPhone, I have no issues with the Peloton widget. Other people are saying, and this has been going on for months for some people, that their widget will not work, that it all of a sudden doesn't track anything. And if they try to open Peloton through the widget, or they close everything, they start over, they update, none of that works. So I have no idea why. And I don't understand why it's only affecting some people, but it's out there. So those are two issues. I will say, I don't think that's a Peloton thing that needs to be fixed. I think that's an iPhone thing that needs to be fixed. Did I tell you about the crazy alarm, the ghost alarm that is happening on this lady's iPhone?
No.
Okay, so she had this alarm set for 9:30 in the morning. She deleted it. It kept going off. So she took it to the Apple store. They can't fix it. They've restarted her phone. They've given her a new phone, but transferred, of course, everything over. The ghost alarm came with it. It came with it. And this has been going on for this poor woman for 5 years.
What?
Yeah. Nobody can fix it. Nobody. Everybody has tried. And so that is what I mean by I think this is an Apple thing. I think this is a very weird Apple glitch when it comes to our Peloton widget not working.
That's crazy.
I know.
Was that somebody you talked to, or is that an article?
That was an article.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5 years. Holy cow. Well, I'd be like, welcome to Google Pixel.
Right? Some people are saying she just needs to do a complete factory reset, but she is unwilling to let everything go. Another person said the only way you could fix it is to go in and add a manual mute that overrides alarms for that 1 minute.
That's what I was thinking is can you just put the alarm on silent so it goes off, but it doesn't make noise. And then when you're like, oh, it's 9:32, it's been going off, click. And yeah, but still, you shouldn't have to.
You should not.
Yeah. Also, earlier in the episode, I induced panic. Now we're going to do our part to reduce panic.
Oh, thank goodness.
Just so that's what I do. I give and I take. It's the yin and yang of me. So just a friendly reminder that the studio will be closed, or no live classes, from December 23rd through January 1st.
It's true, though. They'll be closed.
Yeah.
But
But
new classes will drop on demand daily. Will it be classes you care about? I don't know.
I don't know, but who knows? Who knows if the live classes were going to be classes you cared about?
Exactly. I mean, y'all know the drill. You know this happens every year. You know that if you see somebody complaining, you can tell them that. But I also know it's exhausting, and I've given up. I only tell you guys.
Yeah.
So whatevs.
There you go. Coming up after this, we've got instructors in the news, so stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Ben Aldis had a fun moment this week.
He did. His book, Raise the Bar, was on the Amazon.com books billboard in New York City this week.
Oh, that's pretty
cool. How cool is that? That's so neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Man, I sure would love to have something show up in Times Square in New York.
Write a book. That's all you gotta do. Just write a book, and then Amazon will put it on the billboard for you.
Right. It has nothing to do with him being a Peloton instructor.
No, not at all. That's all you gotta do. Just write a book.
Okay. I'm on it.
Jon Hosking was in a commercial for Crystal Palace FC.
Football club.
We know that now.
Yeah, so that's over in the Uck.
We have football clubs here.
Well, yeah, but we call them soccer.
They still say FC after some of their names.
Oh. We complain about St. Louis sometimes. This is a good example. we have a soccer team now.
This is not just a St. Louis thing, though.
It's dumb.
You're talking about how they name them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like a lot of them do that. It's just called St. Louis City.
Okay, but like we're not like Manchester, you
Right.
know? Like
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Like, pick a name, get a mascot.
Do the things.
Sell me a stuffed animal. That's what we do in America.
Yeah.
Just St. Louis City. I'm like, that's like in Repo Man where they drank beer and it was just a white can and on the side of it said beer.
Yeah. Also, no one likes St. Louis City. Even if they like don't think St. Louis is a hellhole,
Right.
They are not fans of downtown.
No.
Like no one is a fan of downtown.
No.
So stop it.
Yeah. So
Anyway, congrats to
Yes.
Jon Hosking. This looks really fun.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
neat little commercial.
I was like, Crystal Palace, isn't that one of the restaurants at Disney World?
It is. It is. That's funny.
I'm like, they've got their own football club. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
I wonder if they have little tiny Disney people running around, like little characters.
Seems unlikely.
It does.
So Susie Chan did a 10-mile trail race and came in 6th for women.
Yeah, and it was. She said in her post that it was gale force winds and rain that was so hard it felt like stones hitting you. And right at the end, the sun broke through. But I tell you, I have done a trail run right after it rained, and the mud was so awful. Remember that one I did in the woods, and
Yeah.
like I came out of it, and like the mud was like so
It was
deep,
bad.
and the hills were so steep, and like you would just slide down and hope for the best that like you didn't crash into somebody. It was awful.
You were so covered in mud, I thought you were running for office.
And she looks tidy. How
Yeah.
did she do that?
I think that's what she's saying. Sun came out for the picture.
Yeah, she's like, it was a mess.
The race was horrible. Don't believe this photo. Because I would think I would be mad.
I know,
It's
right?
raining the whole time and I get to the end and they're like, oh, sun's out. And people are going to be like, oh, you ran. It was a nice day. No. I worked really hard.
I took one of her classes this week, and she was saying that she was going to be doing some of these shorter distances. And she was also saying how hard it is for her to run fast. Like, she's really good at running. She calls it slow. Like, I know better. Like, I know.
It's relative.
It is relative.
Yeah.
But she was saying how hard it is for her to run fast. So for her to get 6th female, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So huge
for sure.
congrats.
And then
to
she went out
Susie.
for a very nice dinner
Yeah,
afterwards.
she did.
And while we're speaking of Susie, she was featured by Strava.
She was. They said that she was. They were basically like giving her props for being the first European woman to have completed the 3 major races in the Badwater series, and then They talked about her training log and how amazing it was. So I don't know if you guys follow Susie on Strava, but it is inspiring and humbling. But she got the Activity of the Year nominee. Very cool.
Congrats. Also, if you just can't get enough of your instructors, and who can?
Who can?
Except for me, I'm good. The apparel line put out instructor quote t-shirts.
Yeah.
Everybody loves their instructor quote apparel.
Yes. Yes.
Is it still out there?
There are some sizes left for each instructor, but the small and the mediums are gone, or at least they were. And that was the day I bought them. Like, they were going so fast, I couldn't get my size. Like, I was like, oh, dang. But I got Dennis Wilpers, Club Hosky, and Ben Aldis, and Adrian. So I was excited about that. Matt Wilpers was still saying coming soon. And, you know, Cody's just not my thing. Like, I would never wear that shirt. So there's no point in me getting it. No
Yeah,
shade.
everybody's got
Like,
their instructors they prefer. Yeah.
I just don't want I didn't want anyone to think I was being mean, because
Right.
I'm not.
Just not your jam.
Not my jam.
And we have a Peloton anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary to Charlotte, Dr. Weidenbach. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, very much so.
That was anniversary number 2 for her. The German anniversaries are in full swing for this month.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn, or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, or her long-running radio show, The Dr. Jenn Show. She's written 4 best-selling books, including The Relationship Fix, Dr. Jenn's 6-Step Guide to Improving Communication, Connection, and Intimacy. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I am glad to have you here. I have a question for you. Now, the last few weeks when we've been talking about different things like being tough or having motivation, you know, you've mentioned a lot of tricks that people can do, and a lot of it has to do with self-talk. Is there a way to trick yourself into giving 100% on a workout that you know that you need to do because it's going to get you the result you want, but it's hard to push to 100%? You know, I think of like, I'm going to talk about sprint interval training where you do like a all out sprint, like as hard as you can for 30 seconds. And then you back off 90 seconds to kind of chill and calm your system. And then you keep doing that repeatedly. But it's hard to push to 100%. How do you get yourself in that headspace to do it?
Well, the first question is, do you actually have to do it 100%? And I know that seems like a weird question, but sometimes part of our job as an athlete is to pace ourselves and to really look at, okay, I'm going to be doing 30 minutes of intervals. I'm not going to come out of the gate hot, and I'm not going to do my speed as high as I can because I know I want to save some gasoline for the ride at the end of this 30-minute workout. So I think that the first question is to ask, is it beneficial? Is it necessary? And will it actually help you? Or are you doing something that might actually hurt you, injure you, burn you out? So that's kind of the first thing. It's to do an assessment and go, okay, yeah, I'm someone who likes to do things 100%. Is that the right choice here? So first is the assessment. And let's say you say, yes, I've consulted with a professional trainer. This is the right thing to do. It's within the appropriate level for where I am in my fitness. And this is something that will help me reach my goal. If that is the case, there are a few things I recommend. The first is doing visualization.
Okay.
If this is coming up in advance, start doing some visualization. And let's just say that interval sprints is something that ongoing is something that's really challenging, and you feel like, hey, this is kind of big picture. I need to work on this. Start doing nightly visualizations. Do visualizations of you doing the sprint. And now the studies show, and this is a little controversial, but the studies show that doing visualization from the point of view from inside your body is more effective.
Okay.
That said, I personally don't like it as much. I personally like to be able to have more of a bird's eye view when I do visualizations. And when I did it as an elite level gymnast, I worked really hard after reading that study to do it from the inside out. But for me personally, looking bird's eye view was more effective.
So you mean literally like you're envisioning yourself like
molecules like, and blood vessels,
like seeing yourself like on a movie screen versus like being like looking out of your own eyes.
Exactly.
This is a bad analogy, you're gonna hate it, but like a first person shooter.
Yeah, well, like let's just say it's a treadmill class. If you're seeing it from your own perspective, you're seeing the screen in front of you, you're looking down, you're seeing your feet, you're seeing
got it.
legs,
Gotcha.
You're seeing your arms moving. But if you're doing it from bird's eye view, you're seeing maybe from the perspective of someone standing somewhere else in the room looking at you.
Okay. And
they can see you head to toe.
Got it. Okay.
So what I recommend doing is doing nightly visualizations and take yourself through the sprints, take yourself through that moment where you feel like, I don't know if I can go on, and imagine yourself getting a second wind. Imagine yourself having success. Imagine yourself finding the reserves and continuing to go fast in that sprint. But visualization is incredibly powerful and incredibly underrated. And I remember in grad school reading this really incredible study about visualization where they had people do free throws. And they had one group that did visualization, one group that did the actual free throws, one group that did visualizations and free throws, and one that did nothing. And what they found was the ones that did visualization and the free throws killed it. They did the best. Followed not by the ones who did the practice, followed by the ones who did the visualization. Visualization is even more powerful than doing the actual activity. And really good visualization, and understand that visualization is like anything else in life. You have to train it to get good at it. If you do really good visualization, you will feel your muscles twitch.
Interesting.
And the more you do it, the more you start to notice that, because your muscles are actually having the experience with you. And the mind is incredibly powerful. And I work with elite level athletes who do this, and you would be stunned at the results. Just stunned.
Well, that explains why Kristin and I are together, because when we first started going out, I was doing some visualization. Put that out there.
It clearly paid off.
Yes.
Oh, so glad Dr. Jenn has a sense of humor.
She would be long gone if she did not.
I know.
I wouldn't have lasted this long with you guys.
She's got 6 steps to improving intimacy. Might be 7 now, thanks to visualization. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
On social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jenn, 2 N's on Man.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Peloton Artist Collaboration.
We have a new artist series, this time spotlighting Run DMC.
Yeah, classes start December 14th. So there's going to be a ton of them. There's going to be a bunch of 4 here. And then I know there was a bunch. They all start on the 14th or drop on the 14th, depending on if they are live. So it looks like 7 different classes. So very cool. That's a fun one.
Absolutely.
The Kings from Queens. They were also featured on remember how I told you I was doing those outdoor runs and there was one for each borough? Mm-hmm. Well, the Queensboro had Run DMC in it.
Oh,
that was a really fun playlist, the Queens one.
They sample a monkey song.
Of course they do. I should know that you know. We should do some kind of trivia where everything has to relate back to some kind of obscure monkeys reference.
I could do it.
It starts on one end, like Run DMC. It seems obvious. And then somehow it links back to the monkeys world.
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
And coming up after this, we're going to have some past guest updates, some good news for them, and we're going to give you some ideas for classes you should take or make sure to not miss. So stick around.
Past guest update.
So CJ Albertson apparently has his sights set on the Olympics.
He does. So you might remember that I had told you guys that he did win the California International Marathon last week. Well, this past week, he went to a different California marathon, and he was the winner there. Baja California. That's what it was called. So this time he came in 2:11.08. Last week it was 2:11.09. So he got another PR.
Oh, look at that.
But if he finishes in the top 3 Olympic marathon trials in Orlando on February 3rd, he will be eligible for selection for the U.S. Olympic team.
Okay.
So that is super exciting.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Good
wow. I get goosebumps when I think about it. Oh, what a year he's having. What a year.
And speaking of good news for past guests.
Yes. So you guys might remember that we had Anya Adams on, and she was, so is this considered, I always get these mixed up, director or writer?
It sounds like, well, she has directed lots of television shows,
Yeah.
but it sounds like in this case she's going to produce and direct.
Ooh, I didn't know she was doing both. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to lead the Netflix show that's coming out. It's going to be a comedy series, and she is confirmed as the producer and director. So let's see. There's a whole bunch of other people that are part of this, but I think this is just really cool. She's going to get her own producer and director credits for a brand new series.
I don't know if that makes her like an unnamed showrunner or how that works, or because if she's the producer and director, that's pretty high level. But either way, this is great news for her. So congrats.
I can't wait. Yeah, huge congrats. We'll be watching for it.
Checking out the competition.
Of all people, Ikea has entered the fitness space. So
Did not see this coming.
if you want your bike to be really hard to put together,
Yeah, we had some jokes about this. So helper B Nikki sent this to me earlier in the week, and Tom immediately said, "Whew, can you imagine putting that bike together?"
I know. That's the workout.
Well, there are 19 versatile products that support movement in everyday life and enable people to create healthy habits at home. It's a new series called something that starts with a D.
It's still got an
Darjeeling.
IKEA name, so who knows?
I've never gotten any of those names right.
None.
But it is going to launch in January of 2024. Looks like they have all kinds of things. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at these things. I'm like, what are you supposed to do with them?
I don't know.
There's like little round things on sticks.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to jump through those?
I don't know.
Like
it looks
a puppy?
Like there looks like some weights. Looks like there are some like ankle weights, those little circle things.
Yeah.
I saw a different one where they were using, I think that tray is like a little tiny bench and a step, a different picture.
Okay.
And so I think that some of these things like look like furniture, but then they turn into like things you can use as part of your workout. So
you can use this tray to eat off of, or you can put your feet on it.
Yeah, it seems like a good call.
Swedes are weird, man.
Well, I don't even know if it was the same thing. I'm just telling you what I remember.
Okay.
That does not mean my memory is these days. Like, so I don't know. It's all gobbled up there. Blah, 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 blah.
New content.
Every week there are so many new things to do in the world of Peloton. And so we try to help you narrow it down with the TCO Top 5.
Yeah, we have our new list this week. So the first one is the favorite Peloton run. This is from October 3rd, 23. And this is a 30-minute focus flow hips. Wait, why does it say favorite run? And it's yoga. I think somebody forgot to update this. That says favorite Peloton run. Okay, well, favorite Peloton yoga class. I will fix it. Karen Marquez, she said that this was an excellent class for hip mobility and stability. She said this was a great hip class, easily modified for all levels and well explained. My new hip is a year old and both hips, even the 56-year-old one, love how I feel during and after. It also has a great playlist. So that's fun.
See, it's easily modified. Just add running and now the headline's right. Coming in at number 2.
Favorite Peloton Hanukkah ride.
Which is all about Kwanzaa.
A lot of people sent this one out. You know the TCO community. We're all about the love for Jen Sherman. So December 7th, that she had her first, can you believe, 10 years in, her first Hanukkah ride, 20-minute ride. And Lauren Scardella especially loved the personal stories that Jen shared throughout the ride. She said that Jen spoke about how much the holiday meant to her and her family and how different but still important it is this year, because this year it sucks. Even though they are now empty nesters. She got choked up after the ride was over, and as a fellow member of the tribe, it was almost too much for me to watch. Aw. Then we have number 3, favorite Peloton Christmas ride.
Which is all about Hanukkah.
This took place on December 8th. There was a special one-off XOXO Cody, Santa's workshop, spelled WERK, with, of course, Cody. Jennifer Jonathan Robinson is Team Cody and had a great time. He is simply the funniest there is, and these rides continue to get more and more funny. Obviously, they aren't for everyone, but they are definitely for the Cody fans, and there are a lot of those. Well, there's no doubt about that. Hey, look, it's the favorite Peloton run again.
Which is about yoga.
This one was December 9th. It was a 60-minute endurance run with Bex. And this was from Mandy Rose. She said her favorite class this week was the 60-minute endurance run from 12-9. Perfect coaching, relatable advice, challenging but sustainable workout with great music.
And finally,
the Unstackable,
which is a meditation.
Well, that would be ironic. So this is a 45-minute full body strength with Asal. And this came from Christina Sabatini. She said that it was her favorite class from this week and also made her modify her stack when she was done with it. Asal is on fire. So good. It is in German and does not have subtitles at the time of this posting, but Christina shared that Asal calls out each move in English, so easy to follow based on demonstration and, of course, Asal's energy throughout the class. So this would be a really good one if you want to try something different and you've been a little worried about, can I take a German class? You totally can.
Well, since it's German, should we have called it like Stackable?
Well, you can. You can send your ats to Tom.
So we have new run, row, and something else. Yoga?
Are you making this up?
No, I'm trying to.
Oh, well,
Pilates.
Pilates.
Because that's what's going on the screen.
Yes.
In front of me.
Yes.
But it was being done by a woman. You know me, I don't even see other women. And so I didn't even notice. I just saw a Christmas tree.
Oh, man. My eyes hurt because I rolled them so hard.
And I see this magic circle floating around in the air. I thought that's what made it magic. Now that you point out to me, I recognize that it is being utilized by a female.
I see. Well, Kristin McGee, Pilates extraordinaire, taught her first Magic Circle Pilates class this week. And this is really cool because they are going to start incorporating in the Pilates classes all kinds of different little
sleight of hand?
No, I can't think of the word. Accessories. And so this was the first one with the Magic Circle. So excited to see that. And
we'll see Penn and Teller show up.
For those of you who don't know, Pulse Hour happens every weekday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So it could be Pilates, could be bar, etc. But to Tom's point, this week in Peloton, we also had, there were new shorter row classes that appeared, and also lots of extra 10 strength classes. So if you're looking for ways to make sure that you integrate your row, make sure you get your strength in, those are great ways. Remember, you do not need to do a 45-minute class for it to be effective. So if you haven't been doing strength, those 10-minute add-ons, the 10-minute rows, those are perfect ways to get going with a new habit.
The final stop of the Hip Hop 50 tour is the East Coast.
It is. I will be honest. I am so done with this. And not because I don't want to talk about hip hop, but it's just this particular thing has just been going on literally for a year.
It's been going on for a bit there.
Yeah. So it is the final one. It's East Coast. Lots of fun classes. I've heard amazing things about the Alex and Tunde class. And of course, Jess Sims and Adrian paired up and they were both wearing Brittany Allen gold, amazing outfits. So tons of fun. Make sure you take those classes.
And we also have new lane break classes featuring your favorite Dave Matthews Band, Ants Pedaling.
Yeah.
And an EDM cool down.
I'm cool with the EDM cool down. That's good.
Just not a big fan of the DMB.
I really don't like him. I really, really don't like him.
Well, he seemed nice enough.
Yeah, sure. 30 minutes though. And why play the hits? If you go see a Dave Matthews concert, he's not going to play the hits.
That is true.
He's going to play some jam band bullshit. So I hope this lane break is true to that. Because there is no best of Dave Matthews. If it's best, and he's not going to play it.
Plays a B-side that only got released.
I'm not bitter.
In Belgium.
Bitter. Yeah. And then they sit there for 30 seconds or 30 minutes on a guitar solo. No. Oh my God.
More like a violin solo. That's
yuck. It's awful.
Dave Matthews Band fans are screaming at their car radio right now.
That's okay. You guys can yell at me when I talk about how much I love Alanis Morissette or Taylor Swift. Everybody loves to hate on Taylor Swift. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, clearly not everybody based on the tour revenue generated.
Facts.
But a lot of people like to.
I've been a fan for a long time. Yeah. Long before it was cool.
But you do not besmirch the monkeys. Putting that out there right now.
Yeah, you can at Tom about that too.
Also, before we wrap up this segment, just a friendly reminder that the next 2-hour Power Zone ride will be in January.
Yes. So again, those are going to be happening once a quarter. Next one's coming up. So hopefully you guys are getting built up. You're building up your time so that you can land properly on your seat for 2 straight hours in the month of January.
Peloton birthdays.
And only one birthday this week. It is from Camilla Ramon, and it is on December 18th.
Oh, that's so close to Christmas. I wonder if that really drove her crazy growing up.
She's probably used to it. It's been that way her whole life.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to Camilla. Birthday.
And coming up after this, we're going to talk to our interview of the week, Austin Allison. He's going to talk to you about his love of Peloton and, of course, Picasso. So stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Austin Allison. Hey, Austin, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here.
And thanks for putting on the headphones.
Yeah, I know. I lost my ear pods.
He was very uncomfortable. But the audio didn't sound as good, and so it sounds much better for the people.
He didn't want to do the Princess Leia look.
Yeah,
exactly. No, they feel great though. I'm kind of happy with this decision at the moment.
It's like a weighted blanket for your head.
Right.
Except about an hour in, you start to be like, oh.
Yeah. Don't worry, we won't be doing this in an hour.
No, we will not. We will not. But I do always like to start with our guests asking them how they came to the world of Peloton. So I'm really curious to hear like your time frame and how you decided like Peloton was a good match for you.
Yeah, so quite some time ago, I can't remember what year it was, a friend of mine who's now our chief legal officer at Picasso, his name is David, was an early adopter of Peloton, and he was raving about the product for many, many years. And then 5 or 6 years ago, I ended up buying my first Peloton and have been kind of hooked ever since.
That's great. Wait, your first Peloton?
That's where I was going. Your first Peloton. You have like a fleet?
What does that mean?
You have a fleet of Pelotons?
Well, I guess I'm sort of thinking about my Peloton experiences through the places that I use them. So I've upgraded my Peloton, as the product improved. And then also I use Pelotons in Picasso homes. So I obviously don't travel with my Peloton, but fortunately Picasso equips pretty much every home with a Peloton. So when I'm on the road somewhere, I get to use the Peloton on the go.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, that's a great segue. So tell us about Picasso.
Yeah. So Picasso is a co-ownership marketplace for second homes, meaning we're empowering people to co-own properties together. And it was an idea that was really born out of kind of this desire to make home ownership possible for more people. And we're starting with second homes. Second homes tend to be very expensive. They're also underutilized because most people only use a second home 5 or 6 weeks a year. So Picasso is a solution that enables people to afford more home and eliminate all the hassles that are customary of home ownership.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of confused about like how that actually works. Like,
legally.
And that's the difference between her and me. She's like, legally.
I'm project manager.
And I'm like, day to day, how do you like?
We have so many questions.
Yeah. Totally. Well, so most people, the reason why this model works so well for second homes is because most people only use a second home 5 or 6 weeks a year. And the rest of the time, the home sits empty. So the way that co-ownership works is, a handful of people. You can have as little as 2 families that own the home together, as many as 8 families that own the home together in our model. And we've created a proprietary scheduling app that's available from your smartphone. And you just go on and you block time in the calendar when you want to use the home. And everybody just sort of divvies up the calendar throughout the year. But the app that we've created ensures that the distribution of the calendar is fair and equitable. So if you own, say, 1/4 of the home, the app will ensure that you get 1/4 of the peak season, 1/4 of the non-peak season, and 1/4 of the holidays. And the same is true for all the other owners. And all of the ownership is structured through an LLC, which is actually a very common ownership structure. Long before Picasso, people have been owning homes in LLCs. And the main advantages of LLC ownership is it limits your liability, hence limited liability company. And it's a private ownership structure, right? You can own a home with other people that you don't have to know and retain your privacy and anonymity.
Fascinating.
So you might never actually interact with the other people in real life.
That's right. Huh. Yeah, and that's a feature, not a bug.
For sure.
One of the problems with do-it-yourself co-ownership is that when you're owning a property, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, whether it's design or repair related decisions or bill pay and vendor management. So oftentimes when friends or family members who know each other go in on a home, they end up frenemies at the end of the experience because there's so many little, points of friction. But with Picasso, we sit in the middle, kind of like the manager of the experience. And we handle all the little details. So the owners just get to show up to their home, enjoy their home, ride their Peloton, of course, and leave without taking home any of the baggage or headaches that come with home ownership.
So I'm assuming that means that, like, you cut the grass, you fix the dishwasher should it break,
Exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
we do everything. And there's a couple of big benefits for our customers. The first big benefit is the savings. I mean, as I mentioned, second homes are expensive. You can
First
afford
homes are expensive.
First homes are expensive too. So you can afford, 7 or 8 times as much home with this model because you're only buying a portion of it. So, if you live in New York and you always wanted to own a house in Miami, for example, Miami's super expensive. Not everybody's got the, millions of dollars that it takes to play ball in that market. But with Picasso, you can get into a home for a couple $100,000 in terms of the purchase price. We offer financing, so you only have to put 30% of that down. So it really makes home ownership accessible to a lot more people. The second big benefit is the hassle. We handle everything from design to furnishing to bill pay and maintenance. So you literally get to enjoy the home with none of the headaches. So that's kind of how to think about the offering.
So I'm assuming Picasso gets a fee because you're a business, right? To do all the things that you're doing. Is that like a fee you pay on top? Is that baked into your payment when you take out a mortgage? Or I guess if you pay cash, then you know. But I guess if you could pay cash, you probably wouldn't need Picasso.
Yeah. Some people do pay cash, but I'd say about 70% of our customers use financing because, why not? It gives you a little more leverage. And even though rates are higher now than they used to be, one of the big advantages of co-ownership is that as rates have gone up, it impacts whole home ownership a lot more than it impacts owning a Picasso. So we're actually seeing a lot more people now gravitate away from whole home ownership to co-ownership as a result of the rising rate environment.
Oh, that makes, again, it's a little counterintuitive, but I guess that makes sense that they're like, to buy a house outright at 8%, oof. So I'll do this.
Exactly. I mean, affordability is just such a big housing affordability is such a big problem facing our nation. I mean, it's more pronounced in certain markets, but I think it's pretty safe to say we have an affordability crisis everywhere. Yeah. And, if you think about a home that you could have bought for, X 3 years ago, that home probably costs 2 or 3X to own today because the combination of home price appreciation and interest rate increases. So, co-ownership is really a meaningful part of the solution. If you think about the housing problem that we're in, it all comes down to the fact that we don't have enough homes to meet the needs of, our growing population. And there's only 2 ways to address this supply shortage. You either build more homes or make better use of the existing homes that we have. And co-ownership fits into the second bucket. It's part of the housing affordability solution by making better use of the existing housing stock. And we're starting with second homes, but someday we envision that co-ownership can also help with primary homes as well.
Well, okay, now I'm confused. If it's your primary home and you got to get out, you got to get out for the next people. How does that work?
I mean, let's say you're a young professional or, a single person or maybe a young family without kids that wants to own and, insert the market, but has been priced out. Co-ownership would enable you to share a home with another family or another person and benefit from, the equity and appreciation that comes with owning a home. I mean, home ownership is one of the primary ways that families build wealth in America. And in many ways, I think about home ownership like the 401k of the future. The problem is many people are priced out of it. So, if you get a couple people who can share a home together, everybody wins. The other use case that we see pretty often with co-ownership is where, a family member that's maybe a little older or a little further along financially will help another family member to afford their home. So maybe you can't afford to buy that home in, your market, but your parents or your grandparents or your uncle agrees to buy a quarter of the home or half the home to help you with the financing. And then over time, you kind of earn your equity back and buy that partner out. So co-ownership is very versatile. It really is just about empowering people to pool their resources together and own assets more efficiently.
Huh. Fascinating.
So if it was your primary home, what do you do when your time's up? Like, I guess, or it wouldn't be, it would be a different model.
Different model. In the primary home use case, and this happens all the time, by the way, like Picasso was not the inventor of co-ownership. Co-ownership has been happening in primary homes, secondary homes, multi-generational families. It's been happening for decades. All Picasso has done that's different and innovative is we've built a service layer and a marketplace on top of co-ownership that makes it easy and more accessible to more people. But to answer your question around primary versus secondary, it would be a slightly different model. With primary home co-ownership, you would basically be using different parts of the home and sharing the home at the same time. Versus secondary home co-ownership, people are using the home one family at a time.
Okay.
So, I may use I own a Picasso in Cabo, for example, my wife and our son and I, and we go down to Cabo. We usually stay for a week or two at a time, and we're the only ones in the home at that time. It feels like we own 100% of it because we have an owner's closet there. We leave our clothes there. And when we leave, we just pack up our owner's closet, fly back to California, and the next owner comes in and then uses the home. So that's the difference in the use case between primary and secondary home co-ownership.
Okay.
So you're actually in primary, you would be cohabitating.
Yeah, exactly. Some people call it co-living as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And sometimes that happens with Picasso as well, where two of the owners might know each other. So Picasso doesn't actually introduce the co-owners to one another, but oftentimes what will happen is a couple of friends or family members will go in on a home together. So they might each buy an eighth or each buy a quarter, and they will use the property together, even though they own separate interests. They'll essentially double the time that they can spend in the home by using it together because their families are already friends.
Oh, that makes sense.
It does.
So so you don't mind, you like hanging out with these people, so it's not a big deal.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming, since we're talking second homes and some of the locations that you've mentioned so far, that it's these are pretty nice large homes that can accommodate multiple families simultaneously.
They're super nice. As a business, when we came to market, we had the ultimate goal is to serve as many markets as possible. I mean, we want to make home ownership possible for lots of people at lots of different price points and geographies. But we had to start somewhere, and we chose to start at the very high end. So we started in what I would describe as kind of classic second home destinations that have, in many cases, national or global appeal. So places like Napa Valley, Aspen, Malibu, Miami. So those markets tend to be very expensive. So when you look at our website, the average home price is pretty expensive. But we do have, homes that are starting in the, $150,000 per share range. And as time goes on in the future, once Picasso is available in more markets, you can expect the average price point to come down quite a bit. Someday I expect to have shares available for well below $100,000. So when you think about the fact that we offer 70% financing, we should get to a point where you can buy part of a home for as little as $15,000 or $20,000 down. That's where we're headed.
Fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Just out of curiosity, when you get to the $150,000 range, like what market is that? In my head, I'm thinking Paducah, Kentucky.
Well, remember we split every home into eighths. So if you take the share price, multiply by 8, and that'll give you the whole home price. So 150,000 is still a pretty big number.
Yeah,
for sure.
$1 million home. What we found is that home prices obviously correlate with the market. So we're not going to have $150,000 shares in Aspen because, homes cost $10 million
because it's
in Aspen.
But,
but like as an example, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and within a 3 or 4 hour drive from Cincinnati, there's a handful of amazing lakes that people go visit in Tennessee or Kentucky or Indiana. And home prices are a lot less expensive there. You could buy a really nice home for $500,000 or $600,000 in a market like that. So once Picasso is available and, markets with more reasonable home prices, the share prices will come down in parallel.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was thinking, just for my wife's sake, I was like, oh, Lake of the Ozarks seems like a place where something
Yeah,
like this
that's
would
what I
work.
was thinking too. Yeah.
Totally.
I was picturing your sister, because
Yeah.
this is something your sister would totally do. Like
sure.
this is totally up her alley.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you guys decide Peloton should be added to these homes that you're putting out there?
Well, it was kind of a no-brainer for many reasons. So I'll share a few of the top reasons. I think the first is that the goal of a Picasso home is that it feels like home to the co-owner that's there. Like our owners are not just like vacationing. I mean, occasionally you could argue that they're vacationing, but most of the time they're just like living and working remote, right, at their second home or their what we call their Picasso. So a lot of our owners have Pelotons. A lot of our owners are sort of conscious about health and longevity. And in order for us to make them feel like they were at home, we kind of felt like we had to have a Peloton, in the home. There are a small number of exceptions where we don't have Pelotons. It's usually because the home is too small and we just don't have the space for it, or the home is like, ski in, ski out on a ski resort. So a lot of the exercise that happens is on the mountain, but most of our homes do have Pelotons. I think another thing that caused us to really gravitate towards Peloton is we just kind of think Pelotons are cool. Like we really, we like the brand. We like what it stands for. We like the people associated with the brand. The instructors, and Picassos are also very cool. Like if let's say you own a Picasso and you're doing a girls' weekend at your Picasso, it's kind of cool to have a Peloton. So like if you're out drinking wine during the day in Napa Valley, you can feel good about it because you got up early and exercised on your Peloton. So I think there was a lot of brand alignment, a lot of lifestyle alignment, and just this sort of practical reality that we need to invest in things in the home that help our owners to feel like they're at home while at their Picasso.
That makes total sense. And also, like, Peloton has reached it's the name brand, right? It's like,
for sure.
And so if chances are, if someone wants a device like this, it's probably Peloton that they've been using. So if they show up and either one, there's not one, or God forbid, there's an echelon. Now what do you do?
Exactly.
We're like, I thought we bought a Picasso, not a Van Gogh. What is this?
I had never even heard of an echelon. Is that an alternative?
It's like a knockoff.
Let me just say, there are tons of fitness bikes out there that do what Peloton does, and honestly, don't have an issue with most of them. Echelon, though, I have a special hatred for, and that is because they literally copy everything Peloton does. It just like drives me up the wall because there's no innovation occurring. So
none of any kind,
and it's cheaply done.
Yeah.
Like even the color scheme, even the logo, down to the nth degree of everything. It drives me nuts.
I get it. Trust me. Right after we launched Picasso, there were like 20 Picasso copycats that popped up.
Doesn't it get you?
We know the feeling.
Yeah, we do.
It's just like, come on. I mean, can't you be a little more, original and creative?
Right. Like, okay, do what we do, but put your own spin on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
So then you guys actually own the homes. Like, people don't go out and find a home and say, I would like this one, and come to you for financing. You have properties that people browse and choose from?
We do, but we don't actually retain ownership in homes. So occasionally we will take ownership of the home or part of the home until we aggregate all the co-owners. But most of the time what happens is we're just the marketplace where sellers or real estate agents or builders will come to Picasso to list their properties, and buyers will come to Picasso to find their dream home. And we match the two together. And you can kind of think about us like the real estate brokerage plus the property manager. However, there's like a layer of technology and community and services that we've built on top of it, right? It's kind of like it's like Peloton is not just a manufacturer of a bike. Like what Peloton really is, in my mind, is like a community and a program and a lifestyle, and all the stuff that Peloton enables through the community is what makes Peloton unique. And the same is true of Picasso. But once you buy a Picasso as a consumer, you own it. Picasso doesn't retain any ownership. So if you buy your, Picasso for say $200,000 and a couple of years from now it's worth $300,000 because the real estate has appreciated, you as the owner get 100% of that appreciation, not Picasso.
Interesting. Has anybody resold yet? Has that happened?
Yeah. I mean, people move around. Life happens. Sometimes people will upgrade to a bigger house, downgrade to a smaller house, move to another market. And Picasso makes it really easy for people to do that. Like we have a free transfer program, for example, when you buy a Picasso, where you're able to, if or when you decide to move within a certain period of time, you can transfer to another Picasso for free, no questions asked. So we do see a lot of people kind of move around. And it's gone really well. I mean, so far what we've seen is that the real estate has appreciated about 10% on average. So people are seeing really strong, capital appreciation from their real estate purchase. And we make the experience very seamless. It's not like when you sell a whole home, you have to go through title and escrow and this, 45 or 60-day process. With Picasso, you can buy and sell same day.
Whoa.
Easy in, easy out.
Fascinating.
Can you trade locations? Can you say like, I have an Aspen, I'd like to go to Miami. Does anybody in Miami want to cough up a week?
Yeah, so we do have a home swap feature. We call it Home Swap, and it's designed for owners who know one another. So you can basically connect with other Picasso owners. It's kind of similar to the Peloton feature where you can connect with friends and ride with friends. It's kind of like that. If you know other Picasso owners, you can connect with them in the app, and you can swap dates within one another's home. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I think you might have sold us here. Fascinated.
Well, except for we don't have that kind of money. Except for that part.
When you get to the cheaper ones, you let us know.
Yeah.
Soon. Yeah, lower prices coming soon. Hey, one other thing, just one other little plug here on lowering prices that some people will do is some people will go in on an 8. So like, let's say you found $150,000 share in say Palm Springs, which has, some more reasonable home prices relative to our other markets. You could actually go in on a share with a friend, which takes the down payment from, what would that be, like from $40,000 to $20,000 for that particular unit. So that's another thing that we'll see friends and family members do from time to time.
Huh.
Interesting.
Very.
So what's the name? Does that mean something?
Yeah. Why Picasso? For people listening, it's spelled Pacaso.
Yes.
Not like the artist.
Well, names are tough. When a lot of the good names are taken. So, it's kind of a production to come up with a name for a new company. But we had some criteria that, we were really going after. And I would say we were headed down this path of focusing on artists because we just felt like we were creating something here. And like the way that we empower 6 or 8 families to come together and enjoy this kind of beautiful masterpiece of a home that we now call Picasso, we sort of thought about it like, more like art than like science. So we were sort of looking at art for inspiration for names. And we connected with Picasso, I guess is the more proper pronunciation of the artist, because he was famous for this style of art called Cubism, where he basically put together this collage of different styles of art and created this like masterpiece. And it felt analogous to what we were doing at Picasso. It also sounded cool. We wanted a name that could be used as a noun. Instead of saying I own a second home, we wanted people to say I own a Picasso. And when you say that you own a Picasso, it invites conversation, right? It's kind of a provocative, interesting conversation starter. And so it checked all the boxes, but we didn't want to just, rip off Pablo Picasso's last name. So we were inspired by it. We came up with our own spelling, which is very different than the actual name. But phonetically, it sounds similar to the way that most people pronounce Picasso, and it's spelled Pacaso.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now, what's your Peloton leaderboard name, and how'd you come up with it?
My leaderboard name is 1 Alpha Alpha, and I came up with that because I'm a pilot. So, I'm familiar with the phonetic alphabet, and my initials are AA, so 1 Alpha Alpha sounded cool. There's a theme here, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like things that sound cool.
Got it. Okay.
Do you have a preferred instructor?
Yep. Allie Loves is my go-to. I love Allie Loves. But I would say a Picasso favorite is Alex T.
Okay.
Yeah, he gets a lot of love. He also came on our Picasso Second Home podcast a while back. It was a really great sesh. So, plug that podcast for anyone who's listening.
Does he have a Picasso?
I don't know. He didn't at the time. He may have one now. But we have a podcast that just talks about kind of second homes and how people find their happy place and the connection that people make through their happy place with friends and family. And Alex had a really great segment.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Very cool.
Awesome. So do you have any advice for people just entering the world of Peloton?
Yeah, I would say start small. I mean, I always found it easier to start with 15 or 20 minute kind of intro rides as opposed to jumping right to the 45-minute session. Even the 30-minute session, if you're competitive, like the 30-minute session is a lot of work. So I try to start small and work your way up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm a thinker.
I'm worried.
Right?
Where is this going?
So the Tread Plus is coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're not cheap.
Oh, are you going to have a program where we can share Tread Pluses?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Genius.
Buy 1/8 of a Tread Plus. I'm just trying to figure
Austin,
out.
we need a cool name. We need
Yeah.
a cool name for this.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we could give me some time. We could probably come up with something for you.
Awesome. Well, Austin, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find Picasso, all the things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not super active on social, but you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @GAustinAllison, which is my name with my first initial G. But the better thing to follow is probably Picasso because Picasso is more active. So you can find us at Picasso Homes on Instagram or Twitter. Our website is picasso.com, PACASO.com. We also have an amazing app where you can shop for homes. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention that we're seeing a lot more of now is people who maybe own second homes but don't use them very often can sell down their home through Picasso. You can actually sell 50 or 75% of your home through Picasso and keep the portion that you want to use while taking some chips off the table. And we're also seeing people do that on the buy side, where maybe they wanted to buy a whole second home, but given interest rates and the macro environment, they don't think it's a great idea right now. So they'll come to Picasso and we'll aggregate co-owners for the other 50%, making that dream a reality. So please keep us in mind if you're in the market for a second home or have one to sell or sell down.
That's very
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, no, that's good to know.
It is. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you.
Thank you both. Appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on most socials, leaving a couple platforms behind real soon at Clip Out Crystal. Oh, and on the leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon, where for $5 a month, you get all sorts of bonus content, which we're going to go record right now. And you get ad-free episodes. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And running.
and rowing.
Clip in,